part of the Press Play Podcast Network.
Gentlemen across the nation, I have an urgent message for you. This episode is brought to you by Manscaped. The brand that took your balls to space is now launching them into the ultrasphere. Introducing the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra, featuring a new cutting-edge design and next-generation dual skin-safe blade heads for different shaves.
It's pretty much a spaceship to take your boys downstairs to the next level. Join the 9 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped with the brand new Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. Just go to manscaped.com for 20% off plus free shipping with the code PRESSPLAY. High tech for low places. Manscaped.
Hello, another day, another episode. Gary is grumpy as hell today
God,
on this
stop
podcast, and I don't know why. Do you need to take that, Gary?
I do not.
You don't need it? Somebody trying to extend your car's warranty?
Probably. I usually put my phone on Do Not Disturb when we start podcasting. I forgot to, so now
It's
it is
okay.
on Do Not Disturb.
It's all right, buddy. This is the Ball Card Show, the sports podcast.
For the Sports Collector,
I'm Jason Otero.
I'm Gary LeMaster.
And as always, we are brought to you by the Press Play.
Podcast Network.
And it's summertime.
It has been real toasty at work this week.
I bet it has.
It has been real toasty. Between the 88, 89 degree temperatures and the 60% humidity.
It has been really humid here.
And
in the
my
Midwest.
body adjusting to a carnivore diet, it has been an interesting week.
That's what's going on. Listen, I'm not going to lie. Gary has been grumpy and short in nearly every exchange that I've had with him this week. And I usually call him a few times a week. We're buddies, right? And every time he was like short to the point. He was at work. It was hot. I get that. But usually he's not that grumpy. So he's doing the carnivore diet, which I like half of that diet. It sounds good. It's just the other stuff I like to have with the meat. And you're grumpy because of that. And it makes perfect sense.
I have eaten more eggs in the last 6 days than I've eaten in the last 5 years.
All right. What, all right. What, you can have vegetables?
No.
What about fruit?
No.
All right. Then I need some help because I thought your daughter was doing this with you, and she's just been posting pictures of fruit.
Oh, yeah, no,
and
she's cheating like a champ. She's doing a quote-unquote modified
that doesn't
carnivore
work.
diet.
That's not how it works.
So I agree with you.
All right. So you're eating just meat.
Meat, eggs, cheese, dairy. Yeah,
That's it?
that's it. So breakfast.
So you feel exhausted all day?
Actually, no.
Yes.
I really don't.
No, so you're being grumpy right now. I'm going to gaslight you.
My
all
typical
episode.
my morning is wake up, fry up 5 eggs, normally scrambled with some cheese,
Okay.
a little bit of salt, and then about a pound of beef, whether that is ground beef or a steak or whatever, and that's breakfast. And then I don't usually eat again till dinner, and I'm not even hungry till about dinner.
So how many carbs do you think you're getting in a day?
Less than 5 grams.
Wow.
Yeah.
And how long does it take to get into ketosis on this? Nobody wants to hear us keep
I
talking
should
about
be
this,
in
but
ketosis at this point. I've lost like 12 pounds this week.
Have you peed on any sticks to see?
No, I'm not gonna.
I'll let you borrow a couple so you know. We know all about that.
Yeah.
Type 1 family over here. We know all about it.
So anyway, yeah, that may be.
I'll bring Alex down here to be like, so you don't want to have carbs. This is
Well, it isn't an
hot
issue
take.
of wanting to have
No.
carbs. It's an issue of not doing it. Yeah, maybe that could. I don't feel like I've been grumpy, but
No, you got a bad attitude right now.
I woke up this morning, and within 1.5 seconds of opening my eyes, I had 2 80-pound dogs directly in my face. So that kind of got my day off too.
I'm going to get you in trouble.
Why's
You're
that?
so grumpy. You almost complained about going to the Reds game today.
No, I didn't.
It's not the Reds game, but it's just an unplanned activity.
Well, it was just planned late when I already had other things happening.
This is not the Gary I know. This is not the Gary I know.
Oh, shoot.
And they're playing the Dodgers. What a great game to go to.
It is going to be a fun game, and it's not going to be like Satan's taint hot. It's going to be pretty solid. So should be like high 70s. We got good outfield seats.
Not Satan's taint. Like
Right.
maybe like Ozzy Osbourne's taint.
Maybe. I don't know. It should
Prince
be
of
like-
Darkness, right? Not quite. So anyway, tain't something to be talking about here on this show. I'll tell you that right now. Let's talk some sports cards. Last week, you and I, for the first time in a while, both did local shows at different places.
We did.
And it's a little interesting because in the Columbus area, we've had a lot of new shows popping up. We've talked about how there's a lot more activity, a lot more traffic. And it seemed like every month there was just about a new show within 2 hours that was trying to launch. And eventually all these shows were going to hit on the same Saturday, and they did last week. You and I were about, an hour apart? Hour and a half?
About an hour and a half, yeah.
And we both went to shows where they've been expanding, more tables, and everyone in Central Ohio got murdered selling at shows as far as foot traffic goes. It was very light traffic. So if you were not in a spot with high visibility or you didn't have, that usual one or two stacks of sales, it was hurting, and it was my turn. It's been a minute since I got hit pretty hard on it. I didn't make much at all. Maybe like a $400 show, maybe less than that.
And you bought more than that.
And I bought, that's part of the deal when you're setting up regularly. You build relationships with people that will bring you good stuff and sell it to you at a margin. And you got to commit in that relationship.
Yeah.
Like,
And
hey, I'm going to spend money here.
Sometimes your profit from a show isn't at that show.
Yeah.
Sometimes the profit from that show is in the things you buy at that show that you sell at the next one.
Right.
That's just how it is.
I think the amount of inventory I need sticker wise, I need probably 5 to 6 times what I have right now
Yeah,
to feel like I have the amount that I want. And so it's got to keep going back into the business. I try not to scrape a lot off, but this next month I'm going to the U.S. Open
right.
for the week. I'm
And then
sure I'll spend a little
Then we
money
got
there.
the national.
We got the national a month after that. So this money's got to come from somewhere.
I think that for me, I'm a pretty firm believer that if you want to do this as either your full-time job or as something that is a big part of your actual income, you probably need at a minimum 15 grand worth of inventory on your table at any given time, and probably closer to 20. And it needs to not be $10,000 $1 cards and $7,000 $2 cards and then whatever. Like, it needs to be decent inventory. And
not
that's
too niche either, because I'm there right now, but
Yeah.
a big, probably not quite, but almost half of that is high-end vintage boxing.
Right.
So that's not
Right.
something everybody in Central Ohio is
looking for. Right.
But yeah, it's interesting deciding how much to invest back in, how much of your inventory should be low and high end. But, and this is not in reaction to, but I needed this bad show to happen. I needed
Okay.
this bad show to happen because I think I've shared with everyone on here, but if you haven't heard, just a quick version. I was working in sales for several. I was a pastor actually for over 10 years, and I said, "Nah, I'm done.
I'm out.
I'm out." All right, so I'm not going to go into all that, but definitely not doing that anymore. I went into sales for a while, which is what they tell every pastor to do. And in the interviews, when they would say, you don't have sales experience, and I said, I've been selling Jesus in 2020. This is a hard gig, so, or 2019. So that would get a giggle and laugh. But, so I went from sales, and then last year, son had some health issues where he needed somebody to be home a little more, and we felt like it was time for me to become self-employed. So it's multifaceted. I have a reselling business I do on eBay, a lot of apparel, some collectibles, odds and ends, cool stuff. That was kind of the bread and butter. I'm doing a door business on the side where I do new garage doors, repair doors, and all that. But that's not something I'm actively marketing. It's just stuff that's coming in. And then the sports cards. Well, sports cards has become really fun, and it's now becoming more viable financially to the point where I'm trying to consolidate all the reselling into sports cards. So this week I finally got a new eBay account set up through my business, which is actually allowed. A lot of people thought that was illegal. You're allowed to do that as long as your other account is in good standing. And I'm launching the Ball Card store on eBay. I've also picked up the Ricoh scanner gets in today, where I'll be using one of those AI softwares and uploading thousands upon thousands of cards in the inventory, low end and nicer stuff too. So I don't want to just be stuck on card shows or no shows.
Right.
or Facebook, because Facebook, you can gain a lot of traction. I think Facebook is a better spot for the low end, but most people are in these groups are dealers looking for dealer margins as well. So you're playing the same game with them. Just an update. Gary's being grumpy, not paying attention at all. Right
I'm paying
now.
complete attention. My car is in the shop, and I'm getting text messages from.
I
them
thought we were on
saying,
Do Not
"Hey,
Disturb.
We are, but my watch is still
Okay.
giving. I'm not like
Disturb
you.
my wrist, not my
No.
phone.
Time out. I'm not. It's not buzzing, but I had a notification thing on my watch.
Okay.
And unlike you and your psychopathic self, I can't deal with notifications that aren't cleared.
All right, let's make a deal.
I don't want to know how many your email says.
So you are interested in this Davison de Los Santos and Junior Caminero.
I am.
Right? The refractor auto on the Los Santos and the true purple first on Caminero.
Yeah.
Caminero. Not no. You also have a really cool Jake Long patch.
I do.
And you're proposing a trade plus cash,
Yeah.
right? If you can guess within 300 emails.
Oh, that's not a that's
Within
not a big-
300!
I'm gonna guess that it's 20,000 or more. Like you're not giving me
Is
a
that
very,
your official guess?
No, it's not my official guess.
Do you want to play the game or not?
I think 300 is not a fair number.
300 emails?
That's probably 1% or less of what is.
So we're talking about how many email notifications I currently have on my Gmail. Okay?
Yes.
Now, multiple email accounts.
Yeah.
I still have Pastor Jason Otero,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to say, well, I already said it's a Gmail. Well, I'm getting spammed there now.
Yeah.
I have my other one that's like my actual one that like when I set up all my subscription accounts I use. Then I have an eBay one and another eBay one. And I think there's another one in there too. So I'll tell you what, within 400 emails. 400!
I think that's still about 1.5%. Okay, let's see. I'm going to go with 7,600.
Okay. What if I told you?
Is it 20,000? I was right on my first guess, wasn't I?
15,823 emails.
That's insane. I almost said 16,000, and I thought that
would have done it.
I know, but
That
I
would have
thought
done
that's
it. That
just
would have
in-
sealed the deal.
Can you guys please chime in on our socials and explain to him how sociopathic that is?
Here's the thing.
Like
here's
how
the thing.
broken of a human you have to be to open your phone and see that and go, I don't give a shit.
The most valuable resource I have is time. And if I look and see that 20 of my emails if I have 50 new emails and I scroll through and 30 of them are Papa John's, Marco's, and Romeo's offering me coupons to order another pizza, I don't need to open that.
No, but here's what you can do to avoid the issue completely. You can just set your settings to not send you notifications when you get an email.
I'm not going to lie, I never knew that. Secondly, sometimes I'm like, do I have a Papa John's coupon? That's a lie.
But here's the real
you're
question.
not
How do
allowed
you
to-
remember? You got 15,700 and some odd emails, right? If it goes to 15,783, do you really remember that it was at
So-
81 before?
Apparently,
My anxiety level was so high seeing
I
how
just-
wide that red thing is.
I just opened a different email app, which I don't even know which account this is. And there's 17,574 in there.
That is not normal. That is just not.
But I keep my texts pretty clean. There's only 6 notifications there. But my friends hate me because
sociopath.
they know that, like, if they call and I don't answer, they're assuming that I'm watching my phone. There's so many times I don't care what's happening on my phone.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is healthy.
Thank you.
But-
Thank you.
But that level of notifications is not healthy.
So anyway, back to where I was. Scanners coming in today. I'll probably do Car Dealer Pro. They did an update on it. I'm hearing like anything older is amazing. Newer Chrome stuff, you got to kind of work with it, separate by year and all that. But it gives you the ability to upload and track. It'd be sweet if down the road we got a sponsorship with them. I should probably bug them after I get this up and running.
Right.
But you'll see some new stuff on there. Check it out on Instagram, Ball Card Store. Okay, I'll give previews of what's going up there. But yeah, so attendance was way down across all 3 shows. You ended up doing okay, but it was like 1 or 2 transactions that made it okay.
Yeah. Normally a show is 1 or 2 really solid transactions, then a whole bunch of $10 to $40 transactions. Those $10 to $40 transactions weren't there at this show. It was just 2 or 3 $200 to $500 transactions. I ended up doing $800 on a show that was 25 minutes from my house.
Yeah.
So that's fine. I think the show has lots of potential. I had not done that show before. It's a great venue. The people that are running it are nice. We'll see down the road what it looks like. But, everybody I talked to, from you to Marcus and Noah, that were at a different show, some friends of ours that were at a different show, everybody said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, traffic was brutal last Saturday. And part of it, I think, is summers always get a little bit slow.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a buyer out there, this is a great time to buy.
Yeah.
Because dealers at shows are pretty motivated to sell when traffic is down. There's a lot of youth sports going on. Last weekend in Columbus, there was a massive youth baseball tournament at Berliner Park, which is a nationally known ballpark for youth sports. There's 50 baseball diamonds there.
Huge, yeah.
And there are like 10 or 11,000 kids there playing, and there's a huge crossover between youth sports and dads who collect cards.
Yeah.
So dads were at games watching their kids play, not coming to card shows.
Yeah, it hit us a little bit on that one. And what's tough is what I'm learning is I always have to be in a buying mindset. You know, when my first several months doing these shows, it was like sell and then see what you have to buy. That's not how stuff walks up to the table.
Nope.
And the goal is to build relationships with people that like to do business with you in bulk. And, you know, where you have an agreed upon margin even. I mean, that's super ideal. So when stuff walks up, you got to be ready to spend. And so that's why you're constantly reinvesting this. It takes a while to get this up and running. Would I love to have a brick and mortar down the road and set up at shows? And
Not in Columbus.
well, maybe one of these guys will die out. You
Maybe.
know?
We've got 7 card shops
Yeah.
in Columbus. It's a
Yeah.
lot.
But anyway, don't poop on my dreams. But would I love to be in that spot? Yeah. It just takes a long time to get that up and running. And there's a lot of mistakes along the way. Yeah. So we could talk about pickups, though. I did, with what I bought, I really had fun. I bought stuff that was really cool, I felt like.
Okay.
I've been buying a lot of vintage, so my thought was if I can get some more modern, baseball's really hot right now mixed in, that would be great. So I'll just kind of do a highlight on a few things. One of them that was my favorite was, this Ortiz Mini Auto.
It's a rip card,
yeah,
right?
It's a rip card. Yeah,
It's
23 rip baseball, David Ortiz on card auto to 50. It's a really cool card.
Yeah.
Skeens, Bowman's Best to 75, the gold. Some Ohtani rookies, Caminero purple first to 250, De Los Santos refract. Just a lot of good baseball. Picked up a couple slabs. I picked up a Wemby Hoops Holiday 10 PSA slab and a PSA 10 Ohtani Bowman paper rookie. So, and then a bunch of other stuff in there too. But I'm feeling a little light on football, and I really want to start ramping that up. What were some of your pickups?
Let's see. I had kind of like you were saying, you got to be ready to buy at shows. I know when you first started doing shows, and I would tell you how much cash I was bringing to shows, you were like, "Oh my god!" I was like, "You got to be ready to buy." I bought I don't do a ton of vintage, but I did buy a second year Jim Brown. In an SGC 6.5, which is a really nice card. It's solid grade for that card.
Yeah.
Bought a Drew Thorpe PSA 10 black refractor auto. Bought a stack of just really low-numbered Spectra stuff from the last couple years. So there was a guy set up at the show that I don't think sets up at shows on a regular basis. And to be frank with you, I think the guy probably racked up 50 or 60 grand in breaking on his credit cards, and his wife found out because she was there making him sell stuff. Like if somebody made an offer on something and he hemmed and hawed, she was like, "No, we'll take it." So I bought a big stack of stuff from him, probably $600-700 worth of sticker for $170, and I didn't make the offer. I said, "What do you want for all this?" And he went, he gave me a number, and I said, "Well, what do you want for that Thorpe?" And he gave me that number. I said, "So this together?" He was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." but like a Sebastian Janikowski auto numbered to 9.
Yeah, that's cool.
A cool Micah Parsons 2-color patch numbered to 5. A bunch of really just neat stuff like that. Bought a J.J. Watt Panini Honors 2018 Honors 1-of-1 flawless buyback auto, patch auto, game used, 2-color patch with stitching. Really nice card. Those were kind of the highlights of what I picked up in the last week. We'll see what tomorrow looks like. I'd like to pick up some Griffey. Oh, I picked up that Ichiro.
Oh, yeah.
I
think
did I talk about that already?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean that's been kind of and I'm still trying to buy this freaking challenge card. It's been
I haven't seen much in that range.
7,000 times
5K
harder.
was aggressive, wasn't it?
Well, I don't know that 5K was aggressive if we hadn't got hung as long as we did, but we got hung for 2 months.
Been hung a long time.
And well, speak for yourself.
No. Did you say speak for?
Yeah, I'm a realist.
Oh my goodness. Moving right along. Where are you setting up tomorrow?
Cincinnati, Winton Road, American Legion. Great Cincinnati ball card show. That's what they call it every month.
Nice. How many
John
tables is that
O'Connor
one?
runs it. It's like 80, 85.
Nice.
John O'Connor runs it. Good guy. Yeah.
Okay. Speaking of pickups, I have a little bit of a story / rant.
Please share.
Okay. So you've heard us talk about breaking. Gary and I rarely break. Bowman is something we'll break pretty regular because when you're setting up or selling often, the low-end stuff actually moves pretty quick. It's not much of a risk, and you can hit some monster cards in there. Plus, we enjoy the product. I maybe break once every 4 to 6 weeks, maybe. And anymore, I used to be in these smaller groups where I knew the guys that were breaking on Facebook. Now I pretty much just hop on Fanatics Live because they have, what I want to see, right? I broke a couple weeks ago and hit a couple nice Bowman cards. That Max Clark Gold Nugget at 49.
Yeah. And we talked about what else you hit this other stuff too last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so this week, wait, did I talk about what this was coming in?
You talked
I said
what
what
you
I
hit.
hit.
Yeah,
Okay, so
but you didn't
quick
get into the
recap.
saga.
Fanatics sends me a $25 coupon for any fixed price break. I find a cheap break because I don't want to spend a lot of money. I get the Ravens in an Optic Blaster case break for $40 plus shipping. But the spot was over $60. I hit a Zay Flowers downtown. They have a deal where if you hit a downtown out of the case, you get a free blaster as well. They open the free blaster. I hit a CJ Stroud. Silver. Okay? So now it's been monster for me. They have this wheel spin that you get to do. If you spend $50, you get this wheel. If you spend $100, you get that one. I was at 65, and they did Pop Century break, and I was like, I owe these guys more money at this point because of what I hit. I hit an auto of Oda Annabelle. I don't know who that is. That looks like Supergirl something. I have no idea. So now I'm over $100 in break, even though I've only spent, like 70. And they spent, and I hit an Optic Blaster, 2021, sealed. So this has been a great day for me. I mean, with some of the lower end stuff, like I'm pushing like $800, $900 worth of stuff on a $40 spot initially, now 70 total, and no update on tracking. And then Friday comes and they prepare a label, but it wasn't dropped off. Monday comes around, nothing has happened. So I start messaging, hey, what's going on? No response. Well, I don't like this. I don't like this one bit. And I start wondering what's going to happen if I haven't issued. Would they just get these kids? Because it was a break I typically wouldn't get in, and I'm going to stand in my guts. If somebody's yelling all the time, just don't break with them.
So annoying.
Whoa, bro! I'm going to take care of you, man. Your spot's paid. Like, I'm just so tired of that. It's annoying. So I do what any middle-aged man going into full Karen mode does. I just hop on their live as soon as it opens. Hey, remember me? You have 2 messages in the inbox. No shipping update. No shipping update? Oh, my gosh. We got to take care of you. I'm on it, bro. No contact. No message reply. Guess what I did the next day at 1:30 when they start breaking? Now it's a regular. Day 3 comes along, and now I'm like, listen, here's what I hit. Hey, guys, if you're in this room, just a heads up. I'm waiting on $800 worth of cards. Here's the cards that I hit, and I still haven't received them, right? We're on it, dude, blah, blah, blah. They take down my name. They take down my email. No response. Send this email to us. Now they're wanting me to message them third party because they don't want it on the app. Right? So finally I send one last email, just really encouraging them. that they should probably figure out where my stuff is and quickly, because I will make sure that everyone in the community knows exactly what's happened here, and then I'll go to Fanatics Live, and I'll be darned if I didn't get a tracking update 30 minutes later.
Yeah.
Which just made me wonder, this must be something people get away with
Oh, yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, because a lot of these guys.
I'm
know
sorry,
that-
man. Let me give you your break credit back.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll hit another one.
Well, and for us, like, we're very tied into the overall community. I'd say only 15 to 20% of people who break on platforms like Fanatics or on Whatnot or on Loop or whatever else are tied into the Facebook community really heavily. But the ones who are really tied into it. And there's a couple of different scammer groups. And if you end up on those scammer groups, your reputation is done.
Yeah.
Good luck doing business anymore. And those guys don't want that to happen. But what happens a lot of times is what you just said. We never got this. Well, talk to Fanatics, and Fanatics will refund you your break credit. And then that breaker gets to keep $800 worth of cards.
Yeah. So
But then end up in a repack somewhere.
I did dive a little further into that. Fanatics has a policy where if you can establish blah, blah, blah has happened, which I think that's going to be the big hurdle, then they will consider market value, but they make it come out of the breaker's pay.
Right.
So it's been structured in a way where the breaker really doesn't want this to happen to him. And I can't imagine at some point you do that a couple of times. You mentioned it to me. Fanatics going to be like, you're not doing this anymore. So it didn't quite get to that point. But, man, I could see people getting taken advantage of pretty quickly. I went back and forth on what I was going to do as far as this particular breaker goes. But they did update it. I did get my cards within 9 or 10 days of the break. Everything was intact. Just be careful with it. It just made me like, all right, if I don't know this breaker or I don't have a lot of confidence in him, I'm not going to mess with it.
Right.
That's pretty much where that is. But the Zay looks pretty clean to me. It may be gray worthy. The CJ, I'm not so sure. Maybe a couple surface issues there, but it's a CJ Silver. It's a raw $250 card. So,
Right.
I'm not mad about it at all. I opened my favorite cheaper rip this week. Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary released.
Yep. It is a fun product. It's a pretty product.
It
but
is.
You noticed some interesting quality control issues that seem to be prevalent.
Man, I don't know how they're running these through the press. Now, these are okay. So, what year are we on here with this throwback?
54.
54. So by doing that in a chrome, like it is such a bright chrome card, just the base, that the surfaces are already subject to like blemishes and flaws. But I got to tell you, the quality control on these is horrible. Print lines, probably 1 out of every 3 cards, pretty heavy. Like there's cool stuff to hit in it. So like I opened a hobby box. I think I overpaid like $10, but it just dropped and I wanted it. I did hit a Shohei image variation, which it looks like is probably $70 to $100. There's 1 guaranteed auto, and I hit 2 out of a hobby box, so I think that's a little promising. One of the autos, which is not a big card, Graham Ashcraft rookie auto for the Reds, it's got lines all over it. Hit a Felix Hernandez, is pretty sweet. But then the real bread and butter on these, I mean, there's some bigger rookie cards. I like the Hall of Fame vet parallels. I think it's a really cool idea to chase those. I just realized this.
What'd you realize?
They have like it's not a logo. I guess it is a logo.
Logo
fractor.
fractor almost is what it looks like. Yeah.
But there's some different parallels. There's one there's like a city in the background that they play for. If you ever considered getting into building sets out, or building a rainbow and you don't want it to break the bank, but you want it to be a modern card, look at the print line through the middle of this one. Oh my goodness. Halfway through that card.
Yeah, it's a pretty brutal one. That's Panini level brutality right there.
That's what I was surprised with. I didn't remember seeing. I opened a ton of the blasters of this last year, so it's a card I'll probably still or a set I'll probably still rip a lot. But it was really good looking. Are we okay? Are we still messaging over here?
No, we're good.
Gary,
I
telling
realized
you guys.
You showed me that Felix Hernandez auto, which is a cool card, and it reminded me that I bought a gold BGS 9.5 Felix Hernandez rookie card a couple weeks ago, and it hasn't shown up yet.
Ooh.
So I was kind of digging through my messages to find that.
Did you ever get tracking?
Oh, that's what I was checking to see. One of the things that you should really be better than I am at is when you buy something online, make a note of it somewhere so that you can stay on top of it, because I tend to I buy lots of stuff all the time, and 99 out of 100 times stuff shows up like it's supposed to, but I'm 100% certain that 1% I have missed a few times. 100% certain of it.
Yeah, it's nice when they show up a little later and you forgot about it, because it's like a surprise, but it doesn't always go that way.
No, it doesn't always go that way. Sometimes you got to really get back on top of it. And this was not a super expensive card, but it wasn't cheap either.
Yeah. Okay, so you've been talking about some potential different strategies for shows.
Yeah, just kicking around potential business model changes.
All right. You want to talk through it a little bit? You want to let them behind the curtain?
Yeah, that's fine.
All right.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I probably do 40 to 45 shows a year. If I'm not on vacation, I'm set up somewhere.
How many hours do you think goes into... So let's say you just had a show. You've got this one coming up. So like this Cincinnati show you're doing. How many hours go into whatever you have to do to prep your inventory, traveling, and then the hours you're set up? Like in a full picture, if you were just going down for the show.
I spend roughly 20 hours a week between the show itself, buying, prepping, pricing. Like, just on this business, I spend about 20 hours a week.
Because it's not like you're repricing all your inventory.
No, you can't. It's impossible. I mean, it's not impossible, but when you have a full-time job, it's impossible. So I probably spend 20 hours a week on average. And for the show itself, specifically, any given week, probably 15 of those hours are for that show.
Yeah.
So, I do 40 to 45 of those a year. So it's definitely something that's more than a hobby.
Right.
It's not a full-time job, but it's definitely more than a hobby, and it's been very good to me from a financial standpoint. It pays for my toys and pays for the hobby for me and pays for vacations, and it's fun and it's enjoyable, and it's probably why my wife doesn't mind it, because she gets to do whatever she wants to do most of the time and doesn't have to worry about the money for it. But what I'm starting to consider, and as I've done more and more of these types of shows where I can, on an average show for me, I probably average $1,200 in revenue. Some shows I'll do $2,000, some shows I'll do $500. But for the most part, I probably average somewhere between $1,000 and $1,200 in revenue per show. But when I do a 2 or 3 day show, I usually do somewhere between $4,000 and $6,000. Those shows tend to be extremely well promoted. They're extremely well trafficked, and there's lots of big buyers that come to them because they know they're going to find 300 to 500 dealers in one spot,
right,
and they're going to have lots to pick from.
Yeah.
And so I'm really seriously considering changing my business model from doing 40 to 45 shows a year to taking it down to more like 24 to 30 shows a year. And instead of doing a show every single weekend, doing one larger show every month that's 2 or 3 days, and within driving distance of where we are, what I consider to be driving distance, not what you consider to be driving distance.
Well, no, I mean, I'm with you on this. Like, within, like, Ohio is a very good location.
For me, 6 to 8 hours is driving distance.
Yeah. If it's a 2 or 3 day show, yeah, I would agree that that's reasonable.
So setting up at
8 is pushing it for me.
One of those every month, and then maybe doing one other smaller show every month, and cutting back to doing a couple shows a month, but trying to maximize those shows versus scrambling week after week after week.
Yeah.
Because as much as I enjoy this and as much as I like doing it, there are times where it would be nice to have a Saturday off. There are times where it would be nice to just not get up at 5:30 in the morning on a Saturday to get to a show on time.
Yeah.
So kicking that around, and I think that it's not going to have much, if any, of an impact on my overall revenue. It's just a question of taking the jump to doing it. Because when you're doing these larger shows, your
expenses
inputs are higher. Your expenses are higher. You got hotels, you've got travel costs. You've got food and stuff while you're gone, like all that type of stuff. Like we did
Well,
Washington.
the tables are going to cost 3 or 4 times more than a local show. It's
Well,
not,
yeah,
it's
you're-
still not crazy, but yeah.
Right. Like when we did the Washington, PA show, that was the first large multi-day show you had done. Our expenses on that show, we were probably, by the time it was all said and done, we were each in that show for $300, $350, including, because our tables were $345 for the
The hotel was cheap. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, it was. That's why.
Yeah,
I did
it
that.
was.
Yeah, I don't care. We've had this conversation. If it's clean, I don't care. I can sleep. That's all I'm doing.
I think
there.
the surfaces were clean. The air was questionable.
Yeah, I wear a mask when I sleep, so
Yeah.
I'm good.
That
my,
air was even more questionable.
my stuff's running through a filter.
Minerals.
But so I think that the expenses go up, but so does the revenue on those shows. And if I can replicate the revenue or even do a little bit more revenue going to that business model versus every single weekend, then I may do that. Now, the caveat to that, the potential downside is you're missing buying opportunities. So you still are probably going to be going to shows the weekends that you're off. But instead of getting up at 5:30 to get there at 7:30 for a 10 o'clock show, you can get up at 8 and get there at 9:30 for a 10 o'clock show and leave by 1
Yeah.
and have the rest of your day. So we'll see. I'm kicking it around.
Yeah. I am really aggressively wanting to be more heavily into cards for my income than that. Like, so, I do this store where the majority of what I sell on eBay is apparel. It's easy to find. A lot of people don't consider the margins, but almost every item you sell, you're 5 or 6xing what you spend on it. It's easy to research, and it's always around. The challenge is there's not always around at the scale you need it. It is cumbersome. Like listing a card on eBay is not much. You list 50 sweaters, getting them laid out. The photos take a long time to do right. Measurements. Clothing is something where if I sell a slab to somebody 3 states away, they get the slab. It was a 10 when I shipped it. It's a 10 when I get there. I send somebody an XL and they don't read the measurements and they try it on. They say, well, this doesn't fit me. I say, well, it is an XL. Well, I want to return it. And the customer service, you just got to do the right thing there and take it back. So there's a lot of headaches with it. I'm hoping to move more stuff online. I would love to be able to do shows and have nice stuff there, and then move just a high volume of lower end, like, $2 to $20 cards. And if I can get that rolling, then probably some of these local shows will be more buying and less selling. And then I'll just still have like a favorite or two that I do here and there, and then some larger shows as well. So I think that it's easy to overreact in the hobby with what's going to move and what's going to work and what's going to change. But this is probably like the third iteration of how I'm focusing the card business. So,
Well, yeah, and I think that you've got a pretty good handle on where you want to go with it. And again, for anybody out there listening that would love to do cards for their living, I would tell you that it's very doable. However, it's a lot of work to get it ramped up. You need some capital,
Yeah.
and you're not going to replace your full-time income overnight.
no.
It's going to take you a couple of years of really building up to get to that point, and not so much that you can't create the revenue that you need, but you got to sink a lot of that revenue back into new inventory. So it's going to take you a while to build enough of a war chest that you can ride the ups and downs.
The 30% margin is fantastic on nice stuff.
Yeah.
Like when we talk cards that are over $20, I think if you're buying at 70%, that's a really good deal for you because you're in a collectibles hobby. People are going to look at what stuff's going for, unless you're finding somebody's random collection that's been in the closet forever and they're moving out, right? Those are great, but those aren't the majority of the buys you're going to make. The other thing that I've been finding too is most of the time when you talk about these good buyers that come up to the table, they're building a big stack, but they're going to want around 85% if they're aggressive.
Yeah.
So now I'm already at the same price I would be selling it for on eBay. So it's something to consider.
Yeah.
I like the interactions with people directly, but yeah, if you're building it back up and you're getting it 70% and you've got $20,000 worth of, you're talking about $6,000 of margin if you sell your whole table. So, and that's at 70% that you're buying it. So yeah, the scaling takes a really long time, longer than I expected as I was gaining traction. But if you have a way to move high volume, low end stuff that's a game changer.
Yes, and that's why Card Dealer Pro and some of those softwares is such a big deal, because it allows you
Yeah.
to do that in bulk. Like you can list 150 cards in 30 minutes.
Yeah. Oh, way less than that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Way less time than that. Yeah. It's really fast. Sourcing will be a thing. Like no matter what you have, like if you, let's say that you're listing 10,000 cards a month, well, you got to keep finding it. And that will be a little easier to find. It'll also mean that like actually working the dollar boxes makes sense. So my big goal is that we've got this up and running on eBay where I have a sizable inventory going, and then the national, I'm just treasure hunting dollar boxes. I'm also going to be taking some bigger cards, like some of this high-end boxing stuff that I have. If there's anybody buying those things, it'll be there. So, hoping that that's a pretty decent one for me. All right, bud. Grumposaurus, are you all right?
I mean, I'm here.
My back's tired.
Okay, well, you're going on vacation, so
No, I've just been carrying this podcast
stop
for
it.
the last 40 minutes.
Wow, I'm looking at the wave files, and it looks like pretty equal amounts of talking.
That's with you being quieter than normal.
So how is that you carrying anything? That what you're saying is that I normally carry the podcast.
No, you normally don't shut up.
That's the same thing, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Some of it's wanted and needed. Other than put the team on my back.
Oh yeah, you're getting ready to get on a cruise ship and
Gonna put the world away for a minute.
slide out into the ocean.
Yep. We will not be posting an episode next week because I will be in the Gulf of Mexico.
Floating down the.
I ordered a bunch of old vintage Hawaiian shirts to wear to embarrass
I
my
like
kids
it.
every day. It'll be a different dad shirt. I'm just embracing it. You
Yeah.
know? I'll be wearing basketball shorts and Hawaiian shirts if you need me.
I mean, you've officially crossed over into semi-old dad because your oldest is going to be in high school now. He just graduated from junior high.
Yes, I have a high schooler. That seems unreal. I also bought my first pair of like legit flip flops.
I can't wear them. I can't wear them.
You did it wrong.
I hate it between my toes.
Do you know why?
Why do I hate it
Because
between
you're
my toes?
big. You're
Yeah.
a big guy. You got to get a pair of leather ones that actually break in.
It's the feeling of that thing between my toes that I
But
can't stand.
as this breaks in, your toes sink down. You don't have that wedgie, that thong between your
Or
toes.
I just stick with the slides that I normally wear.
Lack of effort. Anyway, this has been a very random episode of the Ball Cart Show, the Sports Podcast.
For the Sports Collector.
Bye.
Peace.